What's going on, family? So Jonathan Owens says that he is the catch in his marriage with him and Simone Biles.
So you was really the catch in...
I always say the man the catch, man. I always say we the catch, man.
Yeah, so she really booked you.
She did, though.
Is what you're saying.
Because I was fighting it.
So in truth, if I say this out loud, was Jonathan Owens ain't really want Simone Biles. Is what you're saying.
At the time, I'm not gonna say that.
That's what you're saying.
I was afraid. I was afraid to commit. I'm like, man, this is my third year. You know, I'm trying to. I'm like, it's kind of early. But you know, like I said, man, it happened when you least expect it. And we hung out, man. It was like we hit it off instantly. You know, we just laughed the whole night. Man, play. Look, go ahead.
I really want to talk about football. Did you tell her you didn't know who she was?
Actually, my question to her was like, who's your competition? I didn't know nothing about gymnastics, so I'm just asking.
Nobody.
Her. Yeah, and that's what she's like. She told me like myself. That's the most vivid memory I have of that. She was like myself.
So my thing with this situation, and I looked at several reactions that other people had to this. I almost never do that. Generally, when a topic comes out or something happens, I just give my raw thoughts about it. But this is one that we were lagging a little bit on, so I was able to kind of watch a few different reactions, and a lot of people. There's a lot of different things that people felt. So one, people felt he was lying about the DM story. Now, we have a video already, which we'll pin up here, about whether or not he knew her and things like that. So you had a lot of people already saying like, oh, you capping on that. And they were taking more of this approach of like, he's self-absorbed. He has this big ego where he just thinks he's just like all that. He's everything. So when I went to this clip and actually watched it, I did get a different impression than I got from how people were talking, because a lot of people were just saying like, you know, they were speaking down. They were like, oh man, you know, Simone needs to get away from this guy, or all type of crazy jump out the window type of takes. So let me tell you where I disagree with him on, and like him having like not having good self-awareness on it. So this is my thought.
Okay.
Number one, I do think he got set up because Ryan Clark, you know, was like, oh, so you the catch. So he kind of set him up for failure. And so his logic is the men are always the catch, which you can go debate with your mom, your daddy about that. I don't really want to get into that. It's not that serious who's the catch, whether you're the woman that's the catch or the man. I feel like both people should feel like they're a catch, if you want my honest opinion. Yeah, so that's not really a big deal like that. So if he wants to think that, you know, the men are always the catch, then yeah, it's going to be him that's the catch regardless of who the woman is. So that was his logic in it. But even still, he didn't like give into when he was saying like, oh, you didn't even want her like that. Like he was like, no, that's not how I felt. I just wasn't interested in a relationship. But I got to know her and I was like, you know, changed my mind basically. So I think a lot of people are dunking on him a little bit too crazy with this. They're kind of jumping out the window with the opinions. So I think people need to settle down, chill out. But I will say that I do think that there is a lack of self-awareness of how he is coming across with some of these things and how social media is perceiving him. Because when you actually hear him talk, yeah, you could tell he's an athlete. You could tell he has that confidence because all great, and I'm not saying he's a great NFL player. I got my Bears hat on because he's a Green Bay Packer, so clearly not a fan. So I'm not here to defend this guy. I'm actually happy to see a Green Bay Packer get trashed. But aside from that, I'm of the opinion that his self-awareness in all of this seems to be low. Yeah, you're high confident because you're an NFL player and all of that, but I don't think he is understanding that people are taking what he is saying the wrong way. They're taking it to mean like you don't have a level of, and I don't know, this respect of persons type of world we live in, but it's like he's not showing her the proper respect for who she is this Hall of Fame, all-time great gymnast. And I think that's what the disconnect he has is. I think while I'm sure that he is just, you know, amazed with how great of a gymnast that she is and how, you know, she's an Olympic medal winning. I mean, she's broken so many records.
Yeah.
I think it comes across as if he's not honoring what makes her who she is, why people are so shocked that he didn't know who she is and don't believe him. And I'm not gonna lie, there's a part of it where I'm like, like when he said his college didn't have NBC, I just don't believe that. That's a network channel. And most college dorm rooms have cable, let alone you can get an antenna for that. But I will believe him that athletes are insulated. They generally, the ones that are trying to be great and make the NFL generally are, you know, focused, locked in. And so I can believe that he doesn't know her for that. But the saying that the reason why people probably think he's lying is because he said that they didn't have the channel. I'm like, no, you just weren't watching. You weren't paying attention. When you start saying all of that, people might start fact checking you and all that. So just to wrap up what I'm saying, I do think he lacked some self-awareness. He did come across a little bit self-absorbed when he's saying when he even agrees to that. I would just say, I think we're both in our own way attached to each other. If he had just said that this isn't a story, but it feels like he's either playing into it or he's completely unaware of how people are taking stuff. It's kind of like how when people would trash Ayesha Curry, and it's like either you don't know how you're coming across to people, or you do and you enjoy it and you're just playing into that because it's fun for you, and it could be that simple.
True. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. Like, I wouldn't go as hard as on him as everyone else is, you know what I'm saying? Things like that. Like, they acting like he just that, you know, light-skinned boy you had in high school who just thought he was all that, could get anybody he wanted.
Yeah.
It's not quite that. So this is what I would say. He was very careful to answer those questions, be like, yeah, but let me tell the story. And so with that, you had to understand his mindset at the time. That's what he was saying.
Exactly.
At the time, he was saying, I was, you know, young. I was just getting started. He was like his third season or something. He was like, I was focused on this. I'm up here, you know, in the city or whatever, in the single life. Come on now. Like a lot of males, we know this. They trying to be single. They trying to see who they can get. Their name is getting bigger. They get more popular, things like that. So he was being honest about that. I appreciate it 100%, right? And so there. But I just think, and I agree with you, that he could have come around and said something like, you know, he can say what he want, but I'm just saying, say something to the fact like, and I realized that I'm the one sitting up here, sitting under a rock, right? Because he said that he just looked and he noticed she had a lot of followers, so she must be good. I mean, it's just like, I think he's kind of looking at it like, she's a good athlete, I'm a good athlete, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, he's real dismissive.
You're a good athlete. She is an Olympic medal.
All-time great. That's a Hall of Famer.
Come on now, humble yourself. Just
be in
a
the
little
history
bit.
books.
Like, I'm just saying, like, everybody know her.
Yeah.
People know the team you're on, and now people are knowing you more, especially because you're married to her.
Yeah.
So let's just be real about it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like, he could have done that a little bit more. And I get, you know, you confident in yourself applies to him. He should be confident in himself.
Facts.
He's doing well, things like that. He's working hard on his team. But I'm just saying, yes, you got to realize it. And I think as a married couple, right, it's more important to boost your other half up, to lift them up, to make them look good than you making sure both of y'all look good. And that's just kind of what I got from him in this interview. It's just like, you know, no, we both, you know, doing it, blah, blah, blah.
That's
Who cares about you? I'm just saying, as your husband, make her feel good. Make her blessed she's there. You know, I was asking you, I'm like, I realized that, wow, this person who reached out to me on this dating app is known all across the world, not just the U.S., right? Not just in football world. It don't matter what you watch. You typically gonna hear about her radio, see her on advertisements. It don't matter. So that's all I'm saying. I'm just like, if he had the opportunity, which he did, to boost his wife up, which she already got it, right? He could have done that more. That's what I would say.
In between the lines, it feels like he could be overcompensating. I could see someone interpreting it, and that's what it is. The case is they're interpreting it as him overcompensating because his name isn't as big as hers. Well, it's not a lot of people whose name would be up there with it, but it feels like he could be doing that, or he could just be naturally just being an athlete. You know, he's an NFL player. There's a lot of confidence there. There's a lot of a lot of athletes have these huge egos and overconfidence. They wouldn't have made it as far as they got.
They have to, looking at the numbers and who actually making it. So I get it.
Yes, it's a lot that could go into that. Now, here's what I will say, and I do want to address this because this happens in a lot of topics whenever we're talking about other people's relationships and stuff. But it gets a little bit irritating. I see this from men and women, but I want to talk to the women on this one. It gets super irritating when you could clearly see the triggered nature of women that are responding. Like, you could tell that the type of dudes that you got with were narcissistic or arrogant or full of ego and all this
Trash.
stuff. And the level of projection that happens, or that at least comes forth, is very disgusting. It's very distasteful. I hate the projection that a lot of women push on guys just because they see something. Okay, let's say you're 100% right that he has a big ego or whatever, or things like that. Let's say that he is, at least in this context of this interview, is not coming across as deferential to who she is and how amazing she is, and it's not coming across well in there, and it comes off like he's dismissive of how great she is. Okay, he's not kissing her butt. Got it. Okay. But for you to project on their entire nature of their relationship without knowing any detail, and I think you told me she even may have chimed in and was like, y'all just want me to be insecure.
She did.
So
she posted
bad.
That,
And it's like, I don't get why people would take these things and immediately, like, you're throwing up red flags. These aren't red flags.
It's not red.
And then the other thing I was thinking about is he's not, like, he's a young guy. We're talking about guys in their 20s. I think he might be mid-20s, maybe mid going on 8, late 20s. He's probably 26, 27 if I had to guess at the oldest. It's a young people that we're talking about. And we're talking about a young athlete, young millionaire. So it's like there is a lot to be said for somebody who is still growing, who I don't know how much spotlight he gets in the media. I think he's a pretty good player, but it's like, I don't know how often he's getting interviewed. He's not in that room without Simone Biles. And I know that he has to know that that's the only reason why they bringing him in there. Yeah, he was an undrafted player that became a starter. So we know that he has this chip on his shoulder. We know that he's all about hard work and all of that stuff. But at the same time, it's like he has to know that she's the reason why. But maybe he isn't doing a good job of communicating. And I just find that people on the internet have a hard time. They just want to jump out of the window and speak so negatively on everybody else's relationship and stuff. I heard people, and this is the foolishness of this. I heard people comparing their relationship to Kiki and Darius, who weren't even married. like these people are married. They got together, tied the knot, and then they had a ceremony after the fact, not that long ago. So they're newly wed. Like they haven't been together even a full year, and you're already talking about them
comparing how
compared to a relationship that was completely different, that included abuse, that included all these different things. Like, no, I don't see those same people talking about how Simone Biles has helped him with his mental health and things like that, having more awareness of these things, which is amazing for a football player, knowing the mental health struggles football players have. So it's just unfortunate, but it's the reality we have with social media. But we're not going to be the platform. We can look at things objectively. We can say there's things to critique about him. There's things that some people got right about it. Like, there are some things I'm like, yeah, that doesn't come across well. But we're not going to just trash him just for the sake of trashing him because we had bad things. And that's why we push healthy relationships, healthy relationship advice, because we get tired of hearing toxic people who are triggered. Remember the Wendy Williams when she was speaking about Tabitha Brown and her husband? Oh, yeah. And how she projected how she failed said,
been
marriage.
There, done that. Girl, this ain't your relationship.
You notice how people will project their bad relationship or their marriage failing into something just because they see even just a hint of similarity, even if it's not even close. Even though we're talking about two completely different individuals, people love to project their heartbreak and hurt onto other people. And there's a difference between you saying, hey, I had a person that showed me similar signs, and I'm not saying yours is that person, but I would be concerned. It would concern me. And I could, and the lack of self-awareness a lot of these people have is like, hey, I might be more triggered easily to this because I went through this, so I could be wrong, but man, I watch out for people that do these different things. And that's a completely different posture than just automatically saying that. And I just listened to the tone of this, and that's why we want to play the clip, because I didn't get an arrogant tone from him, but I think what he said could have been worded in a way that, like you said, and I loved it, it put him on even playing field. They put Jonathan Owens and Simone Biles as a team, and I think that was where he came up short. It just felt a little bit more like, because they were interviewing him, he kept it about him and how he was not pursued, but like how she reached out to him, how he wasn't interested in a relationship, but she was, how all of this, he should have framed it in a way where it's like, she's just such an amazing woman and she completely changed. My heart changed.
And I think it was supposed to be mainly about him because they kept saying,
it's his interview.
We really wanted to talk about football here.
It's his interview. But
again, they know their relationship
they wouldn't
is
interview
the hot
him.
topic.
But no, I feel very confident that they wouldn't be interviewing him, even though the guy one of the main guys in the podcast, Ryan Clark, was also either undrafted or drafted late in the NFL draft, so he could relate to him. So I'm not gonna say it's impossible, but it's unlikely that this interview happens if he's not married to Simone. And so they obviously had to have that component broached in it. So I don't know. I just think people overreact, and we got to stop it.
Yep, and we wish the best for them, of course.
Yep. So we love to know your thoughts. If you're also among those that are triggered, I'm not gonna say I don't want to know your thoughts, but just take a moment to make sure you look at yourself in the mirror before you comment on this, and make sure that you're not projecting your negative experiences. But hey, we still want your comments. So leave a comment below and let us know what you think.